Almost exactly 4 years ago, Dream uploaded the final 5 Hunters Manhunt, the grand finale against a collection of all the individual players he had recruited to hunt him down during this entire 2-year Manhunt journey. George, Sapnap, Bad Boy Halo, Anfrost, and Awesome Dude all were defeated in what arguably had to be the most cinematic ending in all of Minecraft, with everything leading up to this single pearl George dropped upon death that Dream barely grabbed onto and used to somehow survive, which epically finished out the series with his well-deserved victory. But in the extra scenes video titled The Last Minecraft Manhunt, Dream accordingly explained the bittersweet reality that no future plans for a subsequent 6 Hunters series had been made, which was followed by the apparent doubt and lack of any hope of it ever taking place. Year after year passed with no word from Dream on top of his downgrade in content and viewership, signaling to everyone that these several years of incredible, inspirational competitive rivalry from this single game had truly come to an end. But then, almost a year ago, Dream went on a stream to officially announce that he will be attempting to beat the game against 6 Hunters, which followed with his profound return to the Minecraft competitive scene, which included various Manhunt-centered videos. Then, the final stretch towards 6 Hunters was the Manhunt Revival series, where he revisited each edition in difficulty, in each proving that he still has those same insane Manhunt skills obtained in that 2020 pandemic era, sometimes maybe even showing that they have improved. The struggle, training, preparation all led to this single long-awaited moment. 6 Hunters has finally been released, and it might be one of the worst Manhunts on Dream's channel.
672, 286.
6'7".
Yeah.
But before I go into why and how things could have been better, I want to first objectively go over the actual manhunt and point some things out. Similar to the April Fool's Zero Hunter manhunt, the spawn is set on this snowy mountain with some powdered snow that somehow all but Dream seemed to trip up on, giving him a chance to gain distance. However, from that point, the speedrunner kept running almost 700 more blocks before finally encountering a structure, one of the farthest POIs Dream has ever had to run to at the start of a manhunt. He found a ruined portal with some decent loot, but also for the first time in Manhunt history, a mansion where he looted another chest. But Big D didn't want to stick around in it any further, so he low-key just dipped, smacked a couple hunters and the new huntress off a cliff and went to a different completable ruined portal. He entered it to cleverly juke the hunters into thinking he was underneath it, just to get back to the overworld where he tried to return to the mansion but was pressured out again, so he just went down into a cave instead, allowing the hunters to obtain some of the structure's OP loot, the totems. However, Dream wasn't too undergeared himself, as a full set of diamond armor prepared him for the terribly long time spent in the nether, especially the bastion fight. Here, he put the newly found Unbreaking 3 pickaxe to good use by constantly using the strategy of digging into a wall, once even trying to make some sort of fall damage trap, which kind of worked. I don't know, Sapnap pretty much did all the work. However, a cool play did happen in the structure not by Dream, but from the hunters, because Sapnap dropped a totem for Anfrost to pick up, saving him last second from dying to fall damage. After the hunters retreating, Dream used that time to search for a fortress, but also dried gas for a play he was planning, totaling his entire stay in the nether to a whopping hour and a half. Even more than the record-breaking 5 Hunters finale rematch, which pretty much started with a ruined portal Dream entered super early, where he was in the nether for at most an hour. Speaking of which, in that same past manhunt, Dream tries to make a void trap by breaking bedrock using a TNT glitch, but ends up getting hit it himself. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because in the 6 Hunters manhunt, Big D uses this glitch to access the void over which he places the dried gas from earlier that he manages to conceal from the hunters all while it's growing up, mainly by getting him to follow him into the nearby ancient city. By the way, this is where we see Sapnap attacking Dream while geared in full enchanted netherite armor with the totem, never seen before in manhunt, proving how coordinated the hunters were to gather enough materials to even make that possible. After making them think for too long that he had a trap set in the area of the growing happy gas, the hunters started to doubt that that was the case and began to push in on Dream right in time for the gas to grow up, meaning the speedrunner could finally execute his plan of riding the gas under the world and without any trouble locate the stronghold. All that remained was killing the dragon, but as expected, once the 6 hunters caught up to the end dimension, things started to go wrong and Dream had to one last time use the dig into some blocks and hope I don't die strat, which worked long enough to use this mob once again to barely escape the main island and get to an end city. I predicted this would happen by by the way, along with the mansion start. He gathers enough food, gear, but most importantly the elytra, which is exactly what won him the manhunt by combining it with the spear to deal massive damage to the hunters, but also the dragon. He did it! Dream had successfully survived and defeated 6 players trying to stop him from beating the game. But was it what everyone was expecting it to be? Did all these years of anticipation and a whole year of hype brought by Dream himself result in a manhunt video whose epicness matched all the preceding series? In my honest and unbiased opinion, no. So what went wrong exactly? The goal of killing the dragon while the enormous number of 6 players trying to hunt him down was fulfilled. How could that have been bad? Yes, the end result itself was quite impressive, but comparing the process of completing that task to the ones from all of his other 5, 4, and 3 hunter manhunts, even and especially the ones from the revival series, the level of skill presented in them was not even close to what we saw in 6 hunters. For example, the recent 4 hunters revival manhunt, the most action-packed this challenge has ever been, had 7 different major plays performed by Dream from start to finish, with plenty of smaller moments in between, still showing Dream's incredible ability to get out of difficult situations in ways we wouldn't expect. And some might argue, well yeah, there were less hunters, of course he could do more. And yes, increasing the number of hunters definitely makes the challenge harder, which is why in the next 5 hunters revival video, the number of significant clutches decreased to 4, which still had plenty of those smaller showings of unique skill. But if we look at the entire 6 hunters video, literally the only 2, maybe 3 major things that happened worth mentioning were the 2 happy gas plays and that 1 kill using the spear and the elytra. And those smaller filler plays I was talking about, there weren't hardly any of those either. These unique and unexpected manhunt moments that have you on the edge of your seat were almost non-existent. Sure, the happy gas plays were quite clever and definitely helpful to Dream, but my problem with them is that they were entirely planned beforehand as opposed to some plays that could show the speedrunner's ability to think fast and adapt to get out of extremely difficult situations as the challenge's underdog. A set of pre-planned plays that are almost guaranteed to work against the hunters play a crucial role in being able to actually win the challenge, but some of the best moments in manhunt stem from those situations where the main character of the story finds himself in a situation where he's supposed to die, but yet somehow still manages to come out of it alive. However, hardly any of those scenarios were even noticeable in the 6 Hunters video, as Dream's main escape method was digging into walls. But was all of what I just said Dream's fault? Was he to blame for this lack of entertaining moments? Well, Dream actually answered that question in the manhunt itself when Captain Puffy asked,
"This is not the riveting content I was promised, Dream."
Yeah, it is what it is sometimes. You gotta do what you gotta do.
And he's right. Sometimes that is just how the manhunt plays out, as it's extremely difficult in every manhunt that's played by the speedrunner for the whole recording to be entertaining enough, all while having 6 players on your cheeks trying to murder you the whole time. Which is why I think there is nothing in the manhunt itself that is to blame, but instead all the circumstances around it that if had been done right could have made the 6 Hunters video 10 times better. The first thing that was immediately noticeable to me was how the spear, a whole new weapon with so much functionality and potential uses, was just not present in the beginning part of the manhunt. Going back to my example of the 4 and 5 Hunters revival manhunts, the spear had a huge role in the video's plot, with Big D using it a total of 7 times, essentially making it a part of the speedrunner survival kit. But in the 5 Hunters revival extra scenes, Dream introduced the idea of banning the weapon from the challenge, meaning they evidently did go through with that plan, at least for the beginning, as not a single spear was crafted throughout the entire video, except for Sapnap for some reason, where he used it to kill Bad Boy Halo. Also, I was extremely disappointed when Dream didn't make use of the incredibly rare woodland mansion that managed to appear for the first time in Manhunt, because it caused a missed opportunity to obtain totems, which would have made the video so much more interesting if he had obtained at least one of them, as we've seen totems being used in other manhunts before. But again, this wasn't Dream's own fault, as he even tried to return to the structure a second time, probably because he knew what could be retrieved from it, but was simply unable to. So, what could he have done to make the manhunt better? Well, first, don't ban the spear at all. Sure, it can be an extremely powerful weapon, but since it's an item that's meant to be crafted at the beginning of a world, that the game's own developers and designers have spent time making sure it's balanced and counterable, there's no reason to ban it. Also, there's no telling how many cool unseen plays both the speedrunner and the hunters could be missing out on by disallowing its use. But the main thing that I think would have greatly improved the massively anticipated 6 Hunters video was simply re-recording re-recording the manhunt and doing a different try, something that Dream has done countless times already. And because it was such a highly anticipated video, this especially would call for attempting to perfect how the video would turn out. Though my guess is that the existence of the mansion at the start was way too rare to pass up on, so they just went ahead and played it out. I do want to mention some aspects of the manhunt that were unique from all the other ones Dream has made, more focusing on the hunters themselves. Once the video was released, we immediately found out, after weeks of Dream secretly hinting at it, that the sixth hunter was not Skeppy, but Captain Puffy. As for her overall fulfillment of the role of tracking down the speedrunner, I think she did fine. Some have said that she didn't really add anything to the video, but she sometimes was at the front of the line attempting to kill Big D. She did admit to finding some of the manhunt experience stressful, but with a little practice by participating in the upcoming 6 Hunter videos, assuming they happen, I'm sure she will adapt and find a role on the Hunter team, as many of them already have. Although I do think Skeppy or Dr. Donut would have been a better option content-wise. It was also interesting to see Sapnap's uploaded POV for the first time of a major manhunt, because we managed to have a look into the preparation and the measures they go to try to kill Dream. Also, this totem drop play by Sapnap and Anfrost I mentioned earlier, I think was one of the highlights of the video. Overall, I think the 6 Hunters video we were all expecting could have definitely been better by adjusting the rules, but mainly by re-recording the video to get a better run. Assuming this wasn't the last manhunt where Dream will be facing 6 Hunters, he will have plenty of opportunities to get that perfect 6 Hunter video, which I believe he can do given what we've already seen him capable of. By practicing a little more on things like the layout of a mansion, where the important hidden rooms are, and how to efficiently kill an evoker, maybe we could also get that mansion star that I've been hoping for. Let me know in the comments what you think could have been better, or maybe how you thought it was already a good manhunt. Either way, I hope you can subscribe, as I worked hard to get this video out in time. It supports me, and I'll be able to post longer videos like these. See you in the next one.